Here we are. Here we are. Another Friday, an interesting Friday. Probably one that has been we've been waiting for I would say 4 years now or so. Welcome everyone to Staffing Mania Live, another episode of Staffing Mania Live, your favorite show to tune into every Friday or most Fridays, unless there's a travel day or something. Again, I'm I'm Amy Yackowski from Painted Porch Strategies, and I am here with my partner in crime, my tag team partner, Rick the Shark Rosner. Rick, how's it going today on this Friday?
It's Friday. It's emotional week, and I can say one thing: I'm a real American. Can I say that, like Hulk Hogan? But whoever it is. But at the end of the day, we are all going to have emotions, but we're going to jump on it today. But at the end of the day, hey, it's the weekend, Amy. It's nice and sunny here in Pittsburgh. I'm going to enjoy a beer later and have fun. So I think that's what all of America has to do is let's get back to having fun.
Yeah. Well, I was here in Canada this week. I actually flew out on, I think, Saturday. Rob and I flew out because I was speaking at a conference here.
Yeah.
And, Rob and I just decided we're going to stay. Because,
I knew that. I was going to ask you that.
Right?
Are you the first ones to leave? Seriously, I didn't see it on social media yet, but oh my God, really?
No, I got my Canada sweatshirt. I'm going to become a resident of Canada now because, it's just easier that way.
Well,
right?
I'm wearing the Stars and Stripes today because I love America and I'm not going anywhere, Amy. Just let you know, my ass is here for the rest of my life.
All right. So all of this, obviously we say this in jest. I'm not moving to Canada, but there's plenty of people that, no, I'm not. But there's plenty of people that their immediate reaction is to move to Canada, to retreat, to abandon ship, right? Whatever that ship may be. And in this case, there was a pretty big shift in ship that happened this week with our election. And there's a lot of, as our mindfulness Sherpa on the Painted Porch, Sierra would say, there's a lot of big feelings that are happening on both sides of the aisle with this. And then all the rest of us in the middle, we're kind of just standing around looking like, well, okay, here it is. What's next?
It came to a head. But you know what, Amy? One thing I will say that came good about it, that the election, whoever it was decided that night. We didn't want to drag this on for like 3 weeks and all this stuff. First off, the hype. I'm going to tell you, if you're a marketing thing, like the hype they built for this election was like nothing we ever seen in our life. In the 250 years, almost 248 years we've been around. Seriously, it's amazing what happened. And I think the media, we're going to say it. Can I say it? The media was so negative on both ends. And it fed people. People started hating each other. And the media turned to make America hate each other. And I think we got to stop that. It pulled this up to this is why we're emotional right now, because we built this up for the last year and a half. That this is like the ultimate fight. This basically they're both in the ring. They're wrestling right now, and it's like who's going to win? And you're screaming like, is it the championship bout? And we forgot about the values. It's America, my friends.
Yeah. You know what? It makes me think a lot. Now, don't worry, friends. We're not going to debate politics and where things
right down the middle.
But this is very much a metaphor for a lot of things that we either deal with or don't deal with in our life, in our work, in all of these places in between, right? When you think about the hype that you mentioned, Richard, and the hype that is put behind some of these big events, the election being one of them, it makes me also think about the often ill-approached hype that happens around change. So when we think about change in our organizations, often there's a lot of effort put into creating that sense of urgency, right? That's one thing that all the change management gurus will tell you. You have to have a sense of urgency.
Yeah.
You have to create an iceberg that's melting, right? Well, when you do that, that naturally creates a sense of panic in people.
Bingo.
And when people are panicked, their emotions are heightened. And when their emotions are heightened, they're not necessarily thinking or deciding or acting as clearly as they could had we not made it a sense of urgency and not an all is lost, the sky is falling, our iceberg is melting, we must act now. It's actually a really bad recipe for outcomes similar to what we see here in this political sphere. You end up having factions. You have the change adopters and the change resistors, and they're like both picketing on their different sides, yelling at each other and not understanding one another or taking the time to find common ground. I would say this is a representation of what can happen in organizations every single day with the way they approach change.
You got it right. And you know what's something else I got to throw out there? Even like schools, like I know Ivy League schools, I got to give a shout out. I mean, seriously, they cancel class instead of having counseling there and talk about this. So we're just going to avoid the issue for a couple of days, and you come back and still be angry. I think the biggest thing is
we're just gonna turtle ourselves a little bit until
close our eyes, wake up, and it's all good again. And 4 years passed, and we have another person, and it doesn't work that way, my peeps. It doesn't. Yeah. And whoever you voted for, it doesn't. I don't give two shits who you voted for. We're still Americans. We still got laws. We still go to work every day. At the end of the day, if you want to make a difference, I really say, voice your opinion, run for office, or actually go and do something for the community or something like that. I think us complaining over and over again, you know, and we can talk about the job report, anything like that. People bitch about everything. If you stop complaining and just get up and do something. But we're in this environment now, Amy, where you know how it is with companies and everything like that. If somebody doesn't get their way, they point the finger at somebody else instead of holding themselves accountable. That's what we got to do.
Well, yeah. Well, I will say that the irony of the schools closing is that those schools have philosophy departments. And one of the primary philosophies that teach people how to deal with what is happening in the real world every single day with the challenges, the uncertainties, and the peopling of other people is the philosophy of Stoicism. That is what our company, that is what Painted Porch Strategies was built on. And it's exactly these type of situations that our training and coaching is meant to help individuals navigate. These times of uncertainty, of chaos, and recognizing what is in your complete control to do. Where are you master of your ship? Or where are you, as the Stoics would say, behaving like a puppet where someone else is pulling your emotional strings? The moment you allow someone else, an external, as they would say, an external, someone else, another party, a vote, whatever it looks like, the moment you allow that to control your emotions, you are ceding your control to someone else, and you are ceding your power to someone else. And so
100%.
that is one of the key things with Stoicism. And so I encourage you, for some of you, this is going to be a bit of a shameless plug, but it's actually not, because it's the lifeblood of what I do, and it's my passion and why I founded this. If you are struggling with trying to navigate either from an election perspective, or think about it with your organization. There's a lot of organizations going through massive upheavals and change. You can't just close your door, shut down your computer, and not talk to your fellow teammates. That's not how this works.
No.
We actually have to learn how to work together, how to navigate these places, these areas, these situations where maybe we don't agree, but we're both working towards a greater good, a greater possibility, an outcome beyond ourselves. If you are struggling with that in your organization, but especially with now what's happening with the election, reach out to us. I will post some links. We have some programs that are custom designed for this very purpose, because the reality is Stoicism is all about how do you navigate well and strong and confidently and courageously in a world of other people who you cannot control.
Bingo. And you summed it up. And I say this all the time. You have to adapt. You know what? Teamwork. This is teamwork. And right now we're not doing teamwork at all. Everybody's crying wolf, and they're blaming everybody. Every party's blaming everybody. The people that voted are blaming each other. Come on. Are we just seriously, like, this is one election. This is not like the end of the world. We all still have the key thing is we have our health. Hopefully everybody has their health, and we got to get our mental health back in shape, you know? And I think that, Amy, what the thing is, what you talked about is all these companies now, and we could trickle this down to NIL now, which is killing college football. It's like everybody can say, well, if I don't like this, I can just move on. If you don't like my opinion, then blank you. That's not what it's about anymore. You have to adapt, and you have to understand what other people's feelings are. Yes, we're all emotional. This has been a draining week for all of us. If you won, if you're on the winning side or losing side, it's drainage. I mean, seriously, this was built up. I'm not gonna tell you, but like my heart was pounding like sometimes when I was at the polls, you know, because I worked the polls, and it's like you got people of all walks of life coming in, and they they've realized that this one day could depict their whole life, and it's not. Stop it. It's not. This one day is not going to tell you what you're going to do in the future, if you're going to have a good job or a bad job. So we need to just relax, calm down. It's over with. And how do we regroup and get back on track?
And some of the ways that we can regroup is just by starting by taking a few breaths, taking a moment. Don't lash out at your fellow man or woman. Don't lash out at them. This is going to be the opportunity for you to lean in more, not to isolate further. Again, if we think about this from an organizational perspective, you work with diverse set of people on your teams, within your company, within your leadership. You are a diverse group of individuals. If you all just turtled within your own lane, within your own department, you are not going to be successful in your job. You're going to be miserable, but also your organization is not going to be as successful and thrive and succeed to the level that it could if you had just learned how to navigate the uncomfortable a little bit more. And that's really, again, that is what Stoicism is all about. They talk about amori fati, the love of fate. How can you lean into this idea that, you know, it's like I like to say, there's some people who bristle when you say, well, it is what it is. And I don't mean that in a resignation of, well, everything is fine, dumpster fire, clench my teeth, grin and bear it, tuck it down. That is not what we talk about when we say it is what it is, or even this idea of resilience. Resilience is how do you still show up every single day, purposefully, confidently, courageously, and work towards a greater good. Because I can guarantee you, Richard, that every single one of those people that walked into that polling station to vote, deep down, they had the same motivation, the same driver, the same ultimate goal. Not that their team blue or team red wins. That's not the goal. They had a goal of wanting to create a better America. Exactly. While we might have different methods, different processes, right, of how we execute it, if we think about it from a business perspective, but we have different processes or systems that we use to get there, just like with staffing. What is it that staffing is trying to do at the end of the day? That is put people to work, allow them to have a certain level of prosperity and agency in their lives, to feel like they are fulfilling a purpose and doing that collectively together. That's the same as what's happening here in our country. It's the same goals. We just might go about it in slightly different ways. So how can we find ways to find that common ground and work together to move it better forward?
I always say hope and happiness, and you'll love this real quick. So the people that was on the other side, you know, whatever I voted, which I'm not going to tell anybody, you know what? I sent them all a message, I love you. And they said they love me back. That's what you do. You love each other. Don't matter. You know what? Football or whatever. If you lose, you love and you come back harder next time, you know, with strategic stuff. Just like you said, Amy, I think the big thing is strategic. You know, if you're a business person and you're on the red or the blue, you use the strategies that you learn from this. And then in 4 years, you come back and, you know, you don't say hate words and stuff like that. You come back strategically and say, this is what I'm going to do. So America's behind me. I mean, that's the simple way. Companies the same way. You want the employees to be behind you. But I think at the end of the day right now, and I got to ask you this, I mean, how was your feelings after the election? I mean, were you emotional high, or did you not care, or what? Give me your take on it.
Well, because I am a practicing Stoic, I said, okay, now what? That was my response. There's plenty of people that were very happy, very elated, or felt like they had got kicked in the gut the next day. Rob and I, we woke up, we read it, went, okay, now what?
We got to deal with it. And that's
what are we going to do about it? Because that's really the ultimate goal. That's what we're striving for. We can like it, we can hate it, we can be angry, we can be happy, but now what? Now what are we going to do about it? Now, how are we going to navigate this world that is outside of our control? What do I have control over? I only have control over me. I have control over what I think, what I feel, what I believe, how I act, how I react, how I treat other people. That is the only thing that I have complete control over in my life. Everything else, other people, their thoughts, their behaviors, their beliefs, the way they voted, whether they're team blue or team red, whether they have a white car or a blue car, if they have a dog or a cat, whatever it is, that is outside of my control. I cannot direct people to behave in any certain way. All I can do is be a representative of what's possible try to be a good person, even though people sometimes bristle me and challenge me in different ways, and work to something greater together.
I love how you said that. By the way, Arizona, they still counting votes? They're like the last one to vote. You know that. Like,
well, you know,
takes 2 weeks
we
later.
We had some problems the last time. I think they just want to get it extra super right.
I love Arizona. Like, well, we're working on it. We're working on it. They're like 2%.
They're like, we'll get back to you.
The whole country's done, and Arizona's like, we've got 2% in, right? So it's like, okay.
Yeah. Well, you know, again, I think they just want to triple check everything, because last time they got in a little hot water.
Oh yeah, we won't talk about that. That's in a distant past. One thing I want to talk about is like some of the practices. I think self-care is big important on this. Social media. I'm going to tell anybody out there, if you're on social media, I love you're watching our show. I love you're supporting us. But at the end of the day, get off it this weekend. Get off it. Don't get on Facebook, because Facebook and Instagram's blowing up with, and TikTok is, with all this propaganda, this, that.
Yeah.
We know, blue wave, red wave. We stop it. Just get off it and relax. Actually, go for a walk or something. You know,
it's stoking the flames, right? I mean, we are not the first people, and we will not be the last people to talk about that. But it's stoking a flame. And remember, I will point out to you, the moment you let external things, someone's post on social media, a friend or a family member telling you what they did or didn't do or how they voted, even, you know, someone watching something on television, the moment you let that external, that person, that place, that thing, impact your emotions, you are a puppet and they are your master.
Bingo.
That is the key. So how do you retain your own peace, your own tranquility, without retreating into your inner cave, right? Without like avoiding everybody? How do you do that? You do that by understanding what's most important to you and focusing on what you can control. And more importantly, now what? What am I going to do next? What am I going to do next for myself, for my fellow man? And maybe, just maybe, what can I do to try to find some common ground with these people, with these other people, these people who are in our minds so different from us, but
they're your family and friends, Amy.
But the truth is that 99.999% of the things that we think we believe differently, we just believe a different way to solve it. Ultimately, at its core, at its root, we have the same needs and desires and wants for ourselves and our fellow humans. So where can we find that common ground and say, okay, while we may not agree on the outcome of this election, while we may not agree in the person that is in charge, that is representing, that is maybe being the spokesperson, this is also where language is important. Rob would tell you all about this, where communication is important. While we may not like the way it's being said, what can we do together to try to make this better? I always joke, I say, you know what? If James Carville and Mary Madeline can be married, I think the rest of us can figure this out. They are so opposite of one another on the political spectrum, and yet they have been married for however many years. They've made it work. We can make it work too, in our lives and our work. Yes, and all of those places in between.
Everything. And something else that I'm just going to elaborate one more time. I say this all the time. You break up with a relationship or anything, business or anything, and then you start hating that just eats you alive. Anytime you spend more than 3 seconds hating something, they're winning. Like you said, over and over again. I don't give two shits. If I break up with somebody or if I lose my job, it's like on the next one. It's like, because if you hold that grudge, guess what? Guess who's winning at the end? You're getting stressed out. Probably have to take blood pressure pills, all this stuff. Dude, they're winning. So stop it. So all this hate toward one person or a group right now, you know, you're letting them win because you're not living your life, and life is short. Here we go again. But life is so short. So you're going to waste 2 days or maybe 4 years of hating a group. That's 4 years you lost to your life. Let's make it happy. Seriously.
To use another Stoic term, memento mori. Memento mori is another one. Again, it's a philosophy class. See, all the Harvard students should have just come and watched StaffingMania live. We could have given them the very quick overview
and the street talk too. Keep it real, right? You know what? Something else.
Memento mori basically says it sounds morbid, but it's not meant to be. It basically says you could die at any moment. So how do you want to be remembered? How do you want to behave? How do you want to show up? And it's an important reminder that is the last thing that you want to be remembered for being an a-hole to somebody else, spitting in their face, shutting the door in their face. Is that how you want to be remembered? And if so, Okay, great for you.
Then you're an a-hole, and that's like, jump in the ring with us. We like a-holes. Come on the show. Come on, a-holes.
Yeah, that's true. Boom. That's very true. Yes. So what were you going to say, Richard?
I think one thing else we have to realize is the people that are out there upset, you have people to talk to. You have your allies to talk to. Talk to some other people that, you know, or maybe are on your side or on the other side. Just communicate. Yeah. I think one of the things, Amy, that a lot of people right now need to communicate with people that maybe doesn't agree with them or whatever like that. Just have a chat, a coffee chat, a beer chat. You know, get out there and just, you know, talk to people. This is just a simple election. I know the media is going to be in our face for the next 4 years. The media is there. We have to turn that off. Turn it off. Yeah.
You're just feeding their coffers.
Exactly. And the thing is, though, the media, most of the people on there, you know why they want negative news? Because they get views. Staffing is freaking boring. That's why we try to have this show. We want to make it creative and stuff like that. If we just talk about staffing over and over again, nobody's going to watch us. They're like, damn, this is boring. People like drama. People want bullshit. Am I right? It's all about ratings. News is about ratings. It's not about saying everything's perfect. If you type on the news now, there's probably a riot somewhere. There's somebody getting murdered. No, but if there's somebody doing something good, they share for like 2 minutes. And it's like, okay, goodbye.
Yeah. And I would say with that, you know, having those conversations, again, we talk about this a lot on the Painted Porch when it comes to how we can stay mindful, how we can stay present, how we can be good teammates and good humans navigating this life together. But with our communication, when it comes to conversations, focus less on being right and more on learning. You know, if you can lean in with curiosity, and it might be tough because there might be things that you are deeply passionate about, that you have very strong convictions on. If you can lean into these conversations merely to understand and not to convince someone otherwise, go with curiosity, just ask why. Get a little bit deeper. Help me understand, you know, what's your thoughts? Why, you know, why is it that you believe that this is the way versus not? What is it ultimately that you're trying to solve? And I will tell you, you will probably be surprised that while you may have different paths that you believe need to be taken in order to solve this problem or you know, optimize this solution, the root need is the same.
Exactly.
The root need is the same.
And you know what I love, Amy? That it's your voice tone too. I say this all the time. Do not yell. Do not raise your voice. It's just talk calm, you know, like Dr. Seuss would. Just chill. Or Mr. Rogers. We'll do Mr. Rogers. You know, it's a beautiful day in the neighborhood. Come on, guys. You get a chance, watch Mr. Rogers this weekend or Bob Ross. Bob Ross will cool you down in a heartbeat. Am I right?
That's very true. Oh, yeah. Some self-care with Bob Ross. Yeah.
I think that's the key right there. We should put that in tagline. Yeah. Bob Ross is the thing. One thing I got to say, Amy, and I really believe this, is we got to stop being a victim here. You know, take action. I think everybody is a victim right now in the last week with this with the election, what happened. You know, you're a victim even if you quit a job. If you get fired, it's like, well, it wasn't my fault. It was the boss. It was this. Like, I've seen people leave and they blame everybody else. Meanwhile, you didn't show up for work all the time. When I fired people, I don't fire anybody. They fire themselves. I always say that. Yeah. I have not fired anybody in my lifetime. I fired myself a couple of times because I think I sucked at times, you know, but all joking aside, I don't fire anybody. When they come in and they say, you're being released, I said, you're releasing yourself because this is what you did. And I think if you put these actions, you put, this is what you did, A, B, and C, and this is why you're being released. And if you talk that way, they're like, you're right, Shark. I kind of sucked. It's okay. You always got me. Move on to the next one. Swim to the next company. You know, that's okay. And when you do that, guess what? They understand it and they say thank you because you break it down. And I think something your company does great, Amy. You break it down and you make it simple for people because everybody's making stuff complicated. So it's, I mean, even our industry. I mean, I'm going to tell you, they make hiring so complicated these days. Dude, it's so freaking easy. Peeps, if I can do it, sit in a tank top on in my boxers, I can close deals. Come on. This is not rocket science. This is easy. Everybody's making it so hard in our industry. Like, oh, we got to do this, this, and this. Dude, just pick up the phone and hire somebody. It's that simple.
Again, it goes back to we each have different ways different ways that we go about achieving the same goal at the end of the day. That goal is putting people to work, finding them their next opportunity, putting a little money in your pocket, Richard, for your hard effort along with it. That's the core goal. If you start with the end in mind, as opposed to focusing so much on the process of how it will happen, it's amazing how simplified the process can become and how much more commonality we can find along that journey.
It is so true. Did you ever see, like, when people, and this is a great story real quick, relationships, you see people, they have the total opposite. One likes sports, one doesn't.
Yeah.
But they last for 40, 50 years. My parents have been married for 55 years and they totally have opposite stuff. Well, they argue all the time anyway, but that's great. But then a day they still stay in the same bed. So, I mean, I guess it was good, right? They come to happy medium, right? After 55 years. But so if you can do that and you have something that you don't like, but you still stay with that person, this is almost the same thing with this week. You know, the emotions run high, but at the end of the day, you know, if you're going to pick out pink carpet and they want blue carpet in your house, who wins? What do you pick?
Yeah.
Purple? I mean, somebody's going to like give in, right? And say, you know what, maybe we'll just come to a happy medium, which I think that's where we need to be at.
Yes. Again, you can come together. Just like in organizations, we are all on the same team. We are on Team USA, right? Truly, at the end of the day. So just like within organizations, you are on the same team. You have diverse people on your team, diverse ideas, diverse talents, diverse skills, you know, diverse ways you communicate. You have diversity in these individuals, and yet you find ways to make it work. And if you cannot find ways to make it work, give me a call. Come visit us on thepaintedporch.com. We have programs and coaching and training that can help you learn how to navigate this world that is outside of your control, that helps you continue to show up joyfully, purposefully, intentionally, and resiliently in all areas of your life and work together and communicate effectively with one another. That is the ultimate goal that is going to help make this country thrive and your organization thrive as well.
Exactly. And you know what, everybody, have pride in America. Just have pride in yourself. I think that's the first thing. Have pride in yourself. Do something fun this week. Do something, you know, if you don't like your job, find another job, something like that, but don't blame anybody else, you know, or just hold yourself accountable. Give people a hug. I think this week is kindness. Give people a hug, smile. Let's love everybody. I always say that. I love everybody. Let's love everybody. And like John Lennon said, John Lennon has the best song. Imagine
I love it.
Those people sitting.
So one of the things that I gave out as part of my keynote and my workshop this week, which was all about how to create great teams in your life and in your work, we gave out these little foam fingers to everybody. And I would say, you know, channel your own inner foam finger. If you need a foam finger, call me. I'll send you one. But remember that we're number one together. The only way that we're going to be better is together. Just like Marcus Aurelius said, we are made of the same stuff. We are made of the same stuff. We are meant to work with one another because the only way that we are going to thrive is through each other. So don't forget that. Remember that we are number one, and let's go.
We are number one. And remember, jump in the ring with us this weekend because it's all about love. Give us comments, everything like that. We love you all. Seriously, at the end of the day, we're all emotional together, but we're going to win this together. Remember, me and Amy, we're here for you, even though we get fired up all the time on Mania. But at the end of the day, all these fans behind me are supporting you too. So come on, get them emotions out, get them high emotions for fun, energy, loving, laughing, do it all. And remember, Bob Ross, this is a plug for Bob Ross. Watch some Bob Ross this weekend. I guarantee
Happy trees.
You'll be calm by Monday. You'll call the shark and Amy and says, I am so energetic and I'm just chilling right now.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Absolutely.
All right, Amy. Well, hey, thank you so much. Any more final comments before we get out of here?
I would just say, don't forget what we're all trying to achieve at the end of the day. We might just have different ways to do it. And really focus on the Stoic principle of the dichotomy of control. What is within your complete control? That is how you show up, how you share, how you celebrate, how you encourage, and how you speak to one another.
You got it. And all I have to say is love each other. Love America and love each other. We'll see you next week. Take care.
Or move to Canada.
Oh, shit. Here we go again. USA. See ya, guys.